So last time I started just jumping in and prototyping an idea I had for a game, and at this point, I realized I probably better sit down and kind of organize these ideas better into a game design document, even if it isn't going to be a total professional doc or anything, because really it's mostly just for me to keep myself organized. I figured it'd be a great way for me to make an outline of uh, the gameplay that I'm going to have and what the game's about, the adventure, all that. Kind of see where I came a little further from before. I made the Christmas cookies, I made that little train, but as I started getting into it, I realized I have to um, write out what I'm going to do, put myself on track. So here is my game design document that I kind of started out with. It's rough, but I just have kind of 5 bullet points that I'm starting with. I lay out my concept. It's a third-person roguelike heist game where you play as a rat trying to feed his growing family by sneaking away treats in the days leading up to Christmas. The rat must navigate through the house, avoiding obstacles and challenges to collect sweets and snacks that are hidden away as gifts or left out for Santa Claus. It's going to be a third-person perspective with some stealth-based mechanics, increasing difficulty as Christmas approaches, and collectible treats to feed the rat's growing family. Dynamic obstacle and challenge system, immersive environment with interactive objects, and a Christmas-themed setting with holiday music and decorations on Unreal Engine for PC. And I'm just looking to target casual players looking for a fun and lighthearted holiday-themed game experience, and also a little twist on. It's not that it's exactly naughty, but I wanted to take the perspective of the rat instead of the hero Santa Claus or the Nutcrackers. I wanted to kind of have a different perspective of Christmas. These outsiders that are just trying to live. It's the rats, and so let's see. Next point I have is gameplay mechanics. It consists of navigating through the house and collecting treats while avoiding obstacles and challenges. The game environment is fully immersive, allowing players to interact with objects and make use of the environment to their advantage. The difficulty will increase as Christmas approaches, introducing new obstacles and challenges that the rat must overcome. Collected treats are added to the rat stash, which will grow as the game progresses. The player can trade with a merchant and sacrifice some of their food for benefits, abilities, or special items, and the goal is to keep as many of the rat's children alive by obtaining enough food through 12 days. So that was kind of the idea. I know the 12 days of Christmas, traditionally it starts after Christmas, or so the second day of Christmas would be the 26th, I think, and it goes on and on. Also, I realized that the funny thing about the origin of that song, the 12 Days of Christmas, is that it was kind of like a bar song or like a drinking song, and you're supposed to say the whole thing in one breath and see how far you could get. But I like this idea just for a basic story of, you're the Rat King trying to feed his family, defeat the evil Nutcracker King, and thwart Santa Claus's plans. And every day it gets increasingly more difficult. And at the end of 12 days, you should have enough money to feed your family, or not money, food, snacks and stuff. You're going to be stealing Santa's cookies and trying to find other treats. But the other idea is that it gets more difficult from day to day. So the first day is kind of easy and the challenges are easy. There's not as many obstacles, but every day that goes on, maybe there are more kind of traps set out. This is taking place in a human house, and so it'll take place primarily at nighttime when the humans are asleep. But what that means is I plan on having a health bar for the rat, of course, like a stamina bar for him to run around, but also kind of like a noise meter or a chaos meter. And if you create enough noise, the humans that you could really normally only see their feet underneath a crack in the door, if you create enough of a ruckus, they'll come in and end your game. But so key game mechanics: stealth-based gameplay, exploration, obstacle and challenge system, interaction with environment, increasing difficulty, collectible treats, a combo combat system, and the ability to trade with a merchant. When I get into my let's see, is that all I had there? Okay, yeah. So for stealth-based gameplay, I was thinking like the rat, it's going to be able to crouch, crawl, stealth leap, attack, climb, and hide. And some of the other gameplay mechanics, of course, is going to take place in this living room at nighttime. presumably as the kids are going to sleep. But every day it's going to be set up a little more. I'm using the 12 days leading up to Christmas, so it's not a true 12 days of Christmas thing. But the idea is that, there's going to be some things in here like stockings that are going to appear, and they're also a place for the rat to hide. There'll be a train track that will kind of modify each day, but also I think it'll be an option to have this train as something that could either run over the rat and cause some damage, or you could hitch a ride and kind of either fast track around the system or divert the course of the train, depending on the goals that you're trying to accomplish, which is, of course, trying to get as much food as possible. But there's going to be other things in there, other things in the game besides just collecting enough food for the baby rats. I think there's going to be some items you don't really know what to do with, and some things that you might be able to trade with a merchant. And actually, that's another part of this environment is the merchant. For him to even be able to visit that day, you have to clear the entrance that he comes through. So I have like these jack-in-the-boxes. This is a way to get vertical to be able to jump off the train onto the jack-in-the-box and on top of furniture or top of the fireplace or onto the tree, depending on what that level has in store. Even though it's always going to be the same living room and, the walls are going to be the same, the fireplaces and the furniture will remain the same, as well as the Christmas tree. More gifts will appear and more obstacles and traps and all that stuff. So I'm going to hop over to story and characters, what I've laid out. I have, kind of like these 6 main characters. It's the rat and his wife, who have the growing family. The wife will give birth to a single baby rat on the first day, 2 rats on the second day, 3 on the third, fourth, all the way up to 12 born on the 12th day. So it's kind of like, it's not really exponential. I don't know the name of that mathematical term, but you have to get more and more food if you want to keep the rat babies alive each day, or else if you aren't able to meet their daily hunger thresholds for how many children there are, they'll start to get sick and pass away. There are also going to be nutcrackers of increasing strength and difficulty all the way up to the Nutcracker King. And their job is to protect Christmas for the human family while the humans sleep. The nutcrackers employ an army of goons and traps to hinder the rats' mission and progress. So the nutcrackers are going to be, of course, humanoids, but they're going to be kind of modular. They'll have like different attacks and different ranks. I want to make it so that you could quickly recognize how difficult the nutcracker, what level of difficulty they are, the way that you look at military uniforms, and some may have projectile weapons and such. Okay, another character is the human family, that they actually own the home and live there. They are primarily only observable from underneath a crack, gotta edit that, in the bottom of the door to the kitchen. And so they'll be on the far wall opposite the Christmas tree, and I'm thinking there will be like light passing through, and you could kind of hear some low-pitch utterings and mutterings of the humans, make out some words, but you can kind of see some feet walking by from time to time. But the idea is that you don't want to get the attention of humans by breaking too much stuff. So if you're smashing up the tree and breaking glass, they'll hear it, and at a certain point they'll come in. But also, I think the humans play another role where, you could actually kind of try to listen to what they're saying, and maybe one of the humans, the wife, lost her earring somewhere, and that might be an item that you're able to trade with for the merchant. And if you leave it by the door, I have a silent system or I want to have this silent system or invisible way of keeping tally of your relationship with the humans, because I want to have several different endings. But anyway, on to the next. There's a merchant that sneaks into the living room at night when the rat is able to secure the secret entrance which he comes through, and he will trade special items to the rat in exchange for food, cookies and treats and such. So there's kind of a sacrifice, like a trade-off. So I want to keep the balance of the game so that you could get enough food to kind of feed the kids, but not much more. So if you are going to try to trade with the merchant, you have to really get a surplus by taking more risk and challenge and putting yourself in danger, or you have to sacrifice your children. And another character that is not really visible, is Santa Claus, and He'll kind of be like a voice on the radio that if you acquire a radio. Yeah, so here's what I was thinking for story and characters. Several endings are available depending on what the player chooses to do over the 12 days. So, like, a different ending or it'll affect the ending if the player is able to feed the wife and the children through all 12 days. Also, if the player defeats all the Nutcrackers and all the goons, that'll affect the ending. If the player is able to strike a deal with the Nutcrackers, so there's going to be some subtle mechanics that might allow this. If the player is the only surviving rat, meaning your wife and kids all die and you're the last one left, obviously that'll affect the ending. And if the player ruins Christmas for the humans, that's another ending. Or if the player creates a friendship with the humans. So now I'm going to move on to, okay, I guess that's, oh yeah, story and characters. Art and audio. Art will be generated. I build in Blender, Substance, Photoshop, and Unreal. And I do the audio with Adobe Audition and GarageBand for the MIDI stuff. Animation will be handled with Mixamo and a Rococo motion capture suite that I have. Of course, Blender and Unreal Engine. And then I do the concept sketching like on a tablet, but also I just use Midjourney AI to get some things really quickly. And I will probably use assets if I need to from the asset store, which I already have been messing with, like particle effects and such. And the Adobe Cloud might have some things like a nicely framed door that's already UV'd, but we'll see how many of those I stick with in the end as I try to optimize, because I might end up kind of building and trying to control all my assets. So here we have the Rat King, the Rat Queen, the Merchant, Nutcracker King, and just the idea that they're these massive humans on the other side of the door. So we also have like these different obstacle characters. You know, I've shown you the Snow Bomb in the previous video. Gonna have the Rudolph Express, and you know the idea is that there's gonna be a train track that goes around, and it's like a fast transport system, but also, you know, every day its route is kind of different. There will also be not switchboards, but you know, you'll have the ability to divert the train so it isn't just running the same route all the time. And this might help if you were setting up kind of a trap for your enemies. As you can see, I have the rat trap. I showed you that one, and I want to have a dynamic where the player can risk and try to get the cheese, but otherwise it'll kill you in one shot. And then I also have this rat poison dynamic that would be a trap that damages the player over time, and if you don't clean yourself off or find a remedy for it, if you track it back home, it'll actually infect your babies and your wife too, maybe making them sick or potentially killing them. Some of the goons will be like this rocking horse, a running gingerbread man. Oops, this is actually a Jack-in-the-Box. I forgot to write that caption. This is a work in progress. Then I was thinking, aside from the Nutcrackers, which are humanoids and autonomous, whereas the other things are kind of mechanical and kind of stupid, I was thinking like elves will be like a lower version, like weaker but maybe craftier than the Nutcrackers, smaller, quick and agile, but maybe lower life bar. I have this kind of Santa robot car, which I kind of like the idea of having some kind of projectile shooting little tank or race car type of thing. With the interactive environment, I was looking at, you know, the Christmas stockings are something that probably different treats go in them every day, but also it could be something where the player can hide in it depending on the nearby threats for that scene, but also they could be hoarded. That's that train set and tracks I was talking about. And also the Christmas lights are something that maybe they can hang in certain ways where you could climb them like ropes or use them to traverse around. And of course, here are the 12 Days of Christmas cookies. You know, of course, you know the song, on the first day of Christmas, partridge and pear tree. You know, 2 turtle doves. The idea is that every day there will be a different cookie, but there will be however many cookies they are for what day it is. So a single partridge cookie on the first day, 2 turtle dove cookies, 3 French hens on the 3rd day, 4 cully bird cookies. And so these could either be clustered together or split apart. But the idea is if you collect all the Christmas cookies. That'll be just barely enough to keep your family safe, or you'll be able to feed them and keep them healthy. But there's going to be other treats and snacks that you could get to generate a surplus that you could trade with a merchant. This is just the opening sequence. I'm just showing it for the art and audio, and I want to make this as the intro. You're kind of getting a zoom in exterior view of the house, and I wanted the rat and his rat wife. I wanted to animate them just kind of scuttling into the door as the camera zooms in and as the logo falls, because the next part is where the main menu kind of folds out. And right now I have it as the advent calendar that you saw before. Every day it opens up a new compartment, and when you beat that level, you get a candy there, and then you're able to open up the next day. So, each of these days, it's just sequential. This is a completely linear game. But the idea is that after you've completed a level and you get that piece of candy, there are several levels of that candy that appears in here, and the better candy is when you've done a more complete job of the level, whereas the worst candy, it's still candy, it's good, but that represents merely surviving that day. And so other things that I'm going to add into here, I need to have an option for options. So something where you could see the key bindings. Maybe you could change some of the game settings depending on your graphics card or your CPU. All right, and that's kind of what I have there. Whew. Well, yeah, I don't know, but otherwise I've modeled out some other objects, like I modeled out these cookies. I modeled out the train itself right here, and you could see that. Oops! Right now I have it in the wrong scale and stuff, but oh well. But anyway, thanks for following this progress. I'm gonna keep updating that game design document, and I want to make it so it's pretty robust. I mean, the game design document again is really not going to be seen by anyone but me, but I think I want to have it all filled out because I want to be able to also audit how I finish this game and look at my whole workflow and process. So I'm just putting it out there and sharing. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.